Today's story is titled A Love Written in the Stars. In the bustling heart of Lagos, where the hum of life never ceased, Adaeze believed in something few others did: destiny. At 26, she was a hopeless romantic, convinced that somewhere a love story was being written just for her. Her friends often teased her, calling her Adaeze the Dreamer. But Adaeze wore the title proudly. In a world where love was fleeting and relationships often boiled down to convenience, Adaeze held on to the idea that fate had its hand in matters of the heart. Yet, as days turned to months and months turned into years, fate seemed to be running fashionably late. Adaeze worked as a book editor at one of Lagos' most prestigious publishing houses. Her days were filled with stories of grand adventures, passion, and soulmates destined to be together. But outside the pages of those novels, Adaeze's own life felt painfully ordinary. Her routine was predictable: work, read, repeat. On the rare occasions she allowed herself to be persuaded out of her comfort zone, it was her best friend Kemi who did the dragging. Kemi, a lively and practical woman, was everything Adaeze wasn't. She was bold, spontaneous, and quick to dismiss romance as nothing more than a fleeting distraction. One evening, determined to break Adaeze's cycle of solitude, Kemi convinced her to attend a charity gala. "It's a gathering of Lagos' finest bachelors," Kemi said, a smile tugging at her lips. "At the least, you might meet someone who believes in love as much as you do." Adaeze laughed, but agreed to go, more out of curiosity than hope. The venue shimmered beneath golden lights, elegant figures drifting across the marble floors. As Adaeze wandered through the crowd, she felt like an outsider looking in. She paused by an art display, her eyes lingering on a painting of two intertwined hands, a striking symbol of connection. That was when she noticed him. A tall, striking man stood quietly by the painting, his gaze fixed on it as if it spoke to him. Unlike the others, he wasn't mingling or laughing. He seemed absorbed in thought, a calm stillness about him that stood out in the crowd. Summoning courage she didn't know she had, Adaeze stepped beside him. "Beautiful piece, isn't it?" The man glanced at her and their eyes met. There was something in his gaze, warmth and familiarity, as if they had met before in another life. "It is," he replied, his voice smooth yet gentle. "It reminds me that some things once connected are hard to separate." His words lingered, wrapping around her like a soft embrace. They began talking, and Adaeze learned his name was Tobi, an architect with a deep appreciation for art and history. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, and by the end of the night, Adaeze felt something she hadn't in years: hope. Tobi asked for her number, and from that moment, they were inseparable. Their first date was simple: a walk through Freedom Park, hands occasionally brushing, laughter spilling easily between them. Tobi showed Adaeze the world through his eyes, and she photographed their moments together, immortalizing their growing love through her lens. Late night calls turned into long walks under city lights. Tobi was everything Adaeze imagined love to be: patient, kind, and deeply understanding. But love, even the truest kind, isn't without its storms. One evening, As the sun dipped below the Lagos lagoon, they sat by the water's edge, the air thick with the scent of rain. Tobi's usual warmth seemed distant, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "Is everything okay?" Adaeze asked, her soft voice. Tobi hesitated, then met her eyes and said, "I have to leave for a while. There's a project in Ghana that needs my attention. It could take months." Adaeze's heart tightened, but she forced a smile. "I'll wait for you." Tobi took her hands in his, pressing them to his lips. "I don't want you to wait, Adaeze. I want you to leave. Chase your dreams. And if we are meant to be, we'll find our way back to each other." Adaeze nodded, but deep down, she feared that distance would fray the threads of their connection. Tobi left weeks later, and though they kept in touch, the calls grew infrequent and messages were left unanswered. Adaeze buried herself in work, but Lagos whispered memories of Tobi. The cafe they loved, the art gallery where they had first met, the park where they laughed under the stars. Months blurred into a year. One afternoon, as rain tapped against her window, Adaeze stared at the droplets racing down the glass. Her heart ached with longing. Her phone buzzed. "Look outside." Confused, Adaeze peered through the rain, and there he was. Tobi stood beneath an umbrella, drenched but smiling, his eyes locked on hers. Adaeze rushed outside, not bothering with a jacket. "Tobi, what are you doing here?" "I couldn't stay away," he said, his voice trembling with emotions. "I realized something in Ghana. You are not just a part of my life. You are my life." Adaeze laughed through tears. "You couldn't have called first?" "I wanted it to be a surprise." And just like that, the distance between them vanished. 3 years later, under a canopy of stars and fairy lights, Adaeze walked down the aisle. Tobi stood at the altar, watching her with the same warmth that had drawn her to him that night at the art gallery. Their love story hadn't been perfect. There were moments of silence, distance, and doubt, but it was theirs. As they exchanged vows, Adaeze realized something profound. Love isn't about grand gestures or fleeting moments. It's about choosing each other over and over again, even when the world tries to pull you apart. Stay anchored in love. Love isn't always dramatic or filled with grand declarations. Sometimes it's found in quiet moments and gentle persistence. If two hearts are meant to be, no distance, time, or storm can keep them apart. Challenges will arise. Storms will test the strength of your bonds, and circumstances may conspire to sow discord. Yet, love is the unbreakable bond that holds everything together. When the winds of life threatens to separate you, remember the foundation of trust, understanding, and compassion that your love is built upon. Stay resilient, communicate openly, and nurture that connection. True love doesn't just survive adversity, it grows stronger through it. So hold fast, even in the toughest moments, and let love guide you